Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've ever wondered how to actually build economic security in a world that is just full of noise, well, you're absolutely in the right place. Today, we're breaking down Scott Galloway's highly practical and honestly kind of philosophical mathematical approach to getting rich. We're going to deconstruct his Algebra of Wealth step by step.
All right, let's dive right in. But first, we got to acknowledge the fine print. While there absolutely is a proven formula for wealth, the circumstances of your birth and, just plain old luck, they play a massive role. Galloway hits the nail on the head here. He points out there's this virus infecting a lot of successful people today, especially in the tech world, where they completely conflate their luck with their talent.
So, here is our agenda for today. We'll start with the reality of luck, then move through the four variables: focus, stoicism, time, and diversification. And finally, we'll wrap up with the final answer. Section 1. The reality of luck, acknowledging the fine print. Before we get into what you can control, we have to talk about what you literally cannot. Things like the circumstances of your birth, generational timing, access to subsidized education, and systemic advantages. Galloway is super candid about this. He notes that his own success was heavily aided by these exact systemic advantages. As a white male growing up in the US in the 70s and 80s, he got near-free education and had the insane generational luck to come of professional age exactly as the internet was booming. Recognizing this is absolutely crucial. It keeps us grounded before we dive into the actionable math. And that brings us to the core equation for this explainer. This right here is the definitive formula for building economic security. Focus plus the product of stoicism, time, and diversification. Seriously, if you can master these four variables, you can mathematically engineer your own financial independence. Moving on to Section 2. Variable 1, focus, positioning yourself for success. You know how everyone always says, follow your passion? Well, Galloway argues the exact opposite. First, you need to find something you are genuinely great at, and crucially, something people will actually pay you for. Getting great at that thing, that will naturally make you passionate about it. Second, get certified and get yourself to a major hub city while you're young so you can compete against the best of the best. And finally, you've got to actively position yourself in front of massive economic waves. For Galloway, that wave was e-commerce. Today, it's the dispersion of healthcare, work, education, and fintech. You've got to paddle out to where those tidal waves are forming. Now, I want you to consider this staggering number, 77%. As you focus on your career, you've also got to focus on your relationships. Why? Because the single most important economic decision you will make in your entire life is who you choose as your partner. Research actually shows that married individuals see a 77 greater per-person net worth increase than their single counterparts. But, and this is a big but, getting married is basically betting half your future net worth that you'll be partners forever. So to protect that massive investment, you have to continuously bring forgiveness, generosity, and real engagement to the relationship. Section 3. Variable 2. Stoicism. Controlling what you can control. Okay, the crucial point here is perfectly captured if we compare two very different scenarios. Think about an investment banker who earns millions. Between the hefty alimony, the big house in the Hamptons, and just maintaining a fabulous lifestyle, he spends absolutely every single penny. On paper, he's rich, but in reality, he is functionally poor. Contrast that with Galloway's dad. He earns about $50,000 a year from a Royal Navy pension and Social Security, but he only spends $40,000. Because he lives below his means, he's genuinely rich. The absolute most powerful indicator of your financial freedom isn't your salary, it's your spending habits. To actually practice stoicism, you have to exercise temperance. And that's hard, right? We live in an age of superabundance where we are just constantly craving dopamine. Things like upgrading to a premium flight, doom scrolling TikTok for hours, or, checking Bitcoin prices 7 times a day. We kind of trick ourselves into thinking this is investing in ourselves, but it's not. It's pure consumption. You've got to draw a thick, highly disciplined line between fleeting consumption that just gives you a quick dopamine rush and genuine investment that actually enhances your long-term economic security. Galloway admits he loves to gamble in Vegas for fun, fully expecting to lose his money. But he makes a really profound distinction here. True investing should never, ever require you to be willing to lose it all. If someone tells you to be prepared to lose it all, they aren't talking about investing, they're talking about gambling. Listen, if you just invest in low-cost, diversified index funds for 20 years, you're going to outperform 90% of alternative funds. History shows us that with a diversified basket over 2 decades, literally nobody has ever lost money. Section 4. Variable 3. Time. The power of compound interest.
Let's look at this absolutely staggering math. We've got two people, both investing $4,000 a year at a 10% return. Person A starts at age 20, but stops completely at age 40. Person B starts at age 40 and keeps investing all the way to 65. So, even though Person B invested for way more years, Person A ends up with over 600% more wealth. 600%! Why? Simply because Person A gave their money decades of additional time to compound. It's like a giant snowball rolling down a hill.
The big takeaway? It's time in the market, not timing the market that counts. You absolutely cannot squander time. Honestly, it's the one thing you should never be generous with when it comes to your financial habits. You have to start investing early, even if it's just with whatever little you have, and make it an unbreakable habit. Just let the math do the heavy lifting for you.
Section 5, Variable 4, Diversification, your financial Kevlar. I absolutely love this analogy. Bulletproof vests don't stop you from getting shot or stop the pain. They just stop the bullets from killing you. Look, you're going to make bad decisions in life. You're going to take hits. Diversification doesn't stop the pain of a bad investment, but it acts as your financial Kevlar, so that no single bad bet becomes a fatal blow to your survival. And Galloway is incredibly transparent about the massive bullets he's taken over his own career. He lost 70% of his wealth in just a matter of weeks when his startup, Red Envelope, failed. He famously bought Netflix at $12, sold it at $10 6 months later for a tax loss, completely missing its rocket ride to $550. Oh, and his lack of investment in his marriage? That cost him 60% of his net worth in a divorce. These were massive, incredibly painful hits, but he survived them. Why? Because his remaining diversified assets continued to pull him forward. So how exactly do you wear this Kevlar? Well, here are the strict rules to make sure you never get killed financially. First, religiously invest 10 to 30% of everything you make. Second, if you aren't willing to hold an asset for a decade, don't buy it. Third, never put more than 5 to 10% of your net worth into any single asset. And finally, yeah, you can totally participate in unexpected opportunities with high upside, but never ever bet the ranch on them.
Section 6, the final answer, putting the equation together.
As we wrap up this explainer, we return to the fundamental question that drives all of this financial and emotional discipline. If we apply our focus, if we practice stoic spending habits, let time work its compounding magic, and protect ourselves with diversification, what is the ultimate, realistic answer to acquiring wealth?
The true answer is slowly. It's not flashy. It's definitely not an overnight dopamine rush, but it is mathematically sound. So I want you to look at your own habits. Are you chasing quick dopamine, or are you building your financial Kevlar? What is the first slow step you're going to take today? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.